Hey y'all, welcome to the Steward's Ledger. I'm Alicia, your stewarding bestie, and we need to talk. So, this month threw us a huge curveball, y'all. We did not see this coming, and it was a big one. And I'm talking about a $4,063 curveball, a bank dispute, a mortgage that's been sitting for the past 12 days, and the budget got completely flipped upside down. And all of this happened within a span of about 4 days, right? Now, I'm not here to complain. I'm not here for a pity party. I'm just here because this is real life and this is what can happen when you're on your debt payoff journey, right? And if I was only showing you the clean, organized, and put together videos, then I'm not actually documenting the journey, right? So I wanted to share this because it's a part of our journey. And yeah, so if you're new here, we are a family of four paying off over $190,000 in debt, and I document it all here. I would love for you to subscribe and join the journey and stick around for all the things to come. So let's go ahead and get into what happened. So let me just start, I guess, at the beginning of the month, because, of course, this didn't happen all at once. Like I said, it unfolded over about 4-ish days. And by the time I realized the full extent of what happened, the damage had already been done. Um, so our daycare bill for March was supposed to be $1,815. That's what we budgeted, that's what we planned for, and that's the amount, that I had set aside in our bank account to be paid towards daycare. $1,815. What I didn't know or realize and catch was that our actual balance for March was $2,248. So we were already starting at $433 short for the month of March, but I didn't know it yet. I found out when I got a message saying that our card declined for the $2,248, and that made me go check the Wells Fargo app as well as their, tuition app to see that we owed the $2,000. So I saw that we owed the $2,000, but I went ahead and paid the 1,815 because that's the amount that we had available. That's what we had budgeted, and I figured I could pay the remaining 433 when we got paid again in the next couple of days from the next check, and then I was going to just take money from a sinking fund, like from somewhere else, to just kind of cover that and fix that mistake. And then we'd, you know, pick up on our sinking funds and things like that after all of that was taken care of, and maybe in April. I felt like that was a responsible decision in the moment. And like, because we didn't have the full amount, and I paid what we planned, and then I was going to address the rest as soon as we could. I didn't want to get further behind, so I was going to address it. But then within a couple of days, our paycheck hit our account, and the daycare ended up running the charge again. And it was successful the second time because, of course, we had just gotten paid. And so we had, you know, the amount of money that was needed to cover the $2,248. So ultimately, we ended up paying $4,063 for the month of March towards daycare. When I tell you my stomach dropped when I saw that, we were left with about $228 in the account. We hadn't paid the mortgage yet, which is over $1,000 itself. We had debt payments that needed to come out, our car payment, and the water bill all needed to come out, and we were only left with $228. Like, I was just very taken aback, and I was just like kind of panicking at first. But then I was like, okay, we have to seriously just come up with a plan, like figure out how we're gonna fix this, what all we can do. Thankfully, like I've said, we have, that extra $3,000 that comes, in the month. So things would be taken care of, but just getting behind on the plan that we had and having to pay all the extra fees and things like that, or, just something happening that would throw us off even more from where we are, just kind of scared me a little bit. So, moving forward, I filed a dispute with our bank for the $1,815. I wasn't totally expecting it to work in our favor because, you know, we had the balance, or we have the balance that's due to the daycare, and it was authorized. But I thought I'd, have to try something because the daycare wasn't responding quick enough. And I had called and talked to the director about the situation, and he understood, and he was saying, like, okay, we're definitely going to see what we can do, because that legit was messing with our livelihood at that point, and it was going to interfere with our well-being. Like, we wouldn't have been able to, pay for gas on top of all the bills and things that we had, um and everything like that. So I just did the dispute and maybe thought that the bank could move things along a little faster, possibly. And so they did end up giving us a provisional credit, for the $1,800, or no, $1,815. They did end up giving us a provisional credit and whatnot. But I guess for us, it's not that simple, because when we saw that it was a provisional credit, like, automatically we were like, okay, most likely we're going to have to pay this back. This was just, a temporary um, amount of funds in our account while they investigated the claim. It wasn't a permanent resolution. And essentially, the bank was just saying, like, we're looking into this, but in the meantime, here's, the money back so that you won't be left without it, type of thing. And so that provisional credit was given to us. And our account balance after that was $3,464.22, because we had also just gotten paid again. Um, and so we felt like we really had to think carefully about what we were going to do, especially since this money could be reversed at any time. Um, the bank could take, the provisional money back out of our account, especially since the second charge went toward a balance that we owed. So we are still just kind of waiting on our mortgage to process. Other than that, we haven't really like paid anything manually or anything. We have let things come out automatically in auto pay, because looking into it, it did say that it would take, at least a couple of weeks or a week or so for the claim to be reviewed and all that kind of stuff. And we do get paid again on March 20th. Today is the 16th, I believe. And so within the next 4 days, we have about, I think, 4 or 5 bills that have to come out. And so those bills coming out with this money, like, that's the only thing we're doing with the money. Like, we're not eating out, we're not buying anything, we're not doing groceries, like all that kind of stuff. We're just doing what we can to make sure that we're not spending any extra than what is absolutely necessary. So with all of that being said, we're now at the part that I actually love talking about. Because this is where the work happens. Having a hard month is not the same as having a bad plan. Um, and having unexpected, expenses blow up your budget is not a sign that the system is not working or doesn't work correctly. It actually is just saying that, okay, we need to tighten up on our systems more than ever. Because without the system, without a framework for, making these decisions, a moment like this could have sent us into a full panic, like it almost did for me. and you kind of react in a way that's worse and making yourself get into a deeper hole, which I kind of feel like I did with the dispute. But we have a plan and we're going to follow it step by step. So, our exact plan: first, we are going to be waiting for the mortgage to process. Our mortgage was 12 days late. And that is the first thing we wanted to take care of because we have to protect our shelter before we protect anything else. That's what, stewardship is about. That's what stewardship looks like, especially in a crisis moment. The mortgage had to be paid, so we're just waiting for that to be processed, and we'll go from there. Then I'm going to be going through every single bill that we have due between now and the 19th. And I'm going to be making a list of those bills, what is due, when it's due, and what the payment amount is. I'm not looking at anything that I want to pay for. I'm only looking at what has to be paid for, keeping the lights on, keeping services running until we get paid on the 20th. We are kind of, like I said, in a mini survival mode for like the next few days. So then, and I think this is really important, we are going to be treating that provisional credit as if it does not even exist. Whatever it costs to cover the mortgage and the bills between now and the 19th comes out of our actual paycheck, if possible. The provisional credit is not real money until the bank closes that dispute, and we either keep it or they take it, whichever. We're not gonna spend from it. We're not gonna plan around it and stuff like that. Um, we are just going to treat it like it's not there, because once it gets reversed and we've spent things, we're going to be ending up in a worse off position than what we started in, and that's not what we're doing. All right, so next, when we get paid on the 20th, we are going to be doing a complete budget reset, full zero based budget. Every dollar assigned before we start spending any of the check. This check will be the last one that actually counts towards March. And so let me know in the comments if you want me to film that and that process and everything. I can definitely bring you guys along. I feel like it's a part of the journey. So I'll bring you along when I rebuild, or when I map out how we're going to rebuild, after this mishap. And then lastly, I'm going to be basically auditing every single automatic payment and every card on file, all the things that we have anywhere. Because what happened with this daycare, I feel like it shouldn't have happened if I was, or if we were more tightly managing the budget and everything with our cards and stuff like that. I feel like the card situation wasn't monitored close enough, and it kind of cost us. And so I'm going to be going through every subscription, everything that's auto paid, every stored card, and I'm going to be making sure that we know exactly what is authorized to charge us and when. This has definitely been a lesson, and we are applying that lesson immediately. I don't want this to happen again, and so we're going to make sure that we are keeping a close eye on everything from here on out, asking questions, making sure we clarify, what's being paid when, and how we can, I guess, make payments towards things without, putting ourselves in a hole. So this is our plan. It's not glamorous. It's not the video that I wanted to make this week, but it happened. And this is what we're doing to fix it. Before I want to close out this video, I do want to say something that I think is important, just some encouragement. And that is that when something like this happens, when the numbers don't work out and the month kind of goes sideways, it can be really easy to let frustration turn it into a story that you tell yourself about who you are with money, right? And I just want to push back a little on that. This was a very frustrating situation, like a genuinely aggravating, poorly timed, expensive situation that we are actively working through. And I mean, but that's all it is. It's just a situation. It does not reflect our worth, our character, or our ability to reach our goals. It was just 1 month. It's just 1 month and one set of circumstances, right? It was a problem that we found a solution to. And the difference between where we are now and where we were before we even started this journey isn't that things don't go wrong, right? Things are still going to go wrong. The difference is that now we have a system, we have a plan, and when something, breaks, we know how to fix it, or we can fix it instead of just reacting and making things worse. And I had to, you know, come to terms with that myself because that's growth, that counts, you know? And if you're watching this in the middle of your own complication or your own, situation that you're dealing with, I just want you to hear that a setback is not a failure. A messy month does not erase the progress that you've already had, right? I feel like every single person who has ever gotten out of debt or who's on their debt journey has looked at a month that has been messy, whether it was the first month they started, somewhere in the middle, or even like just close to the end. It was something messy. And the ones who made it through were the ones who didn't quit when it got hard. You don't need a perfect month. You just need a next step and take it, take that next step. Okay. So that was just a little bit of encouragement that I wanted to give. Where we currently stand, we have a little over $3,000 in our account. Our mortgage is processing, and we are being extra careful about what we're spending and how we're spending until the 20th. The dispute is filed, the plan is in motion, and we're not quitting, you know? So now I want to hear from you guys. Have you ever had a moment that completely flipped your budget upside down? And if so, how did you handle it? How did you manage it? And I want you to drop that down in the comments below because this is a community built on real conversation. And I definitely read every single comment and I try to respond to every comment. Um, if this video was helpful for you in any way, I'd appreciate you to give it a thumbs up, share with somebody who might be in the same situation. I truly, truly hope that this channel, you know, helps and reaches many, many people who are on the same journey. Okay, that's my ultimate goal, just to reach people who are on the same journey or who might, be trying to start their journey, to give them encouragement and guidance and to let them know that they're not alone, in this journey. Because I know I'm not alone, and I appreciate those who have commented to share like that I'm not alone and that I've got this. It's been so encouraging, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. Again, if you are new, I'm Alicia, and I would love to have you on this journey with us. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications because next week I will be coming back with an update on everything and hopefully a budget and a cash stuffing for our next check. But yeah, I really enjoy being on this journey with you all. As always, let's keep budgeting with purpose and living with joy. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.